There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, there we are. Money's fallen. We are live for the Beacon TVL Show, the weekly podcast from Beacon DeFi, your beacon in the world of decentralized finance. I'm your host, Professor Chris, and we've got a great show lined up for you today as we tackle the news of the week that's relevant to you, our dear users in the world of on-chain and blockchain investing, crypto, and decentralized finance. Today on the show, we have my code brother from another mother, got Ken, developer relations from Tao Shi, Bittensor subnet number 8, Glitch Financial. How are you, sir?
I am well. It is a rainy day here, but that kind of adds to the coziness. So I got my hoodie on, my beanie, and just I don't know if I'm gonna leave the house at all today. I don't want
I
to.
know I'm not. We actually got snow for the first time this year, like
Oh man.
measurable snow for the first time this year. There's about 3 inches on the ground, and we're expecting, I think, another couple inches before 6 p.m. So thankfully it's cold
Wow.
here. It's actually below zero with the wind chill. So it's what we like to call dry and powdery snow. So I will be taking my leaf blower and just
Oof.
just just getting rid of everything. And we face
Yeah.
north, so that's a good thing most times because things will drift, and I don't normally have to shovel too badly unless it's like
There
heavy
you
snow,
go.
like the snow you guys get when it's like 30 degrees and it's snowing, so it's all icy and heavy and lumpy.
Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no snowmen
Yeah.
though. That is correct. You don't get snowmen, Susan, with that. So that's the unfortunate part. But you know what? I am excited because finally it feels like 2025 is here. Because until
It
then, we
does.
hadn't really had any measurable snow. So I'm like, is it really the new year? But now it's cold. We have snow on the ground. My kids are happy. They're already out there in their snow pants, sledding around. And yeah, it's an exciting time, which also means, Ken, we are 2 weeks away from one of my favorite. I can't even see him. Can't even see my shirt. ETH
Oh
Denver.
man.
Look at that ETH hoodie. Look at that ETH hoodie. I wore that to
Okay.
my first ever ETH
I'm
Denver.
jealous.
It's a limited product. I might have to make my own, but ETH Denver is the spiritual home of Beacon DeFi, and we're excited to see everybody there. Excited to see what everyone's going to be doing. We're going to be doing a master class in Denver for everybody who is there. So if you want to go and see how we do what we do, you can work with me and network for like 2 to 4 hours. I'm still trying to nail down the day. It was going to be March 1st, but venue selection is a little iffy at that time. So um, just let me know if you're going to be there. Be happy to do that. I'm reaching for something
Excited.
right now for all of our audio listeners because we are also making podcasts with the stuff. I have roughly $200 in
Oh
Illuvium cash.
wow.
I think maybe 250. So if you are familiar with the game Illuvium, I don't know if you are, Ken, or not.
I have never played Illuvium, but
Well, it is a
that's
Web3 base. Look at our little upgrades to the system. We're all
wow.
round circles now. Uh, it is a basically it's a catch 'em all game, kind of like Monster Hunter, kind of like Pokemon Go. You capture these alluvials, and each of these alluvials are actually NFTs. So you actually have upgradable attributes on them, and you can pay to upgrade them. And then you take them to the arena, and you have 5-on-5 alluvial battles with other players. So
Wow.
a
Look at
little bit of an interesting. Yeah, it looks
that
good. They have
Caraduro.
yeah. Look at that. Oh my God, that is a koala. That is a
Wow.
koala with
I
fire in
wouldn't
his
want to go up
eyes.
against that. No, sir.
I know. No, you
You know,
don't know. You don't want to mess with koalas when they're angry.
you know,
So
like koalas. They say like they're not the smartest animals, but like because they just live in trees and eat the eucalyptus, so they don't really have to like do too much. But that one
oh,
looked
those are the
terrifying.
ones you look out for. Those are the ones you
Yeah,
look out for.
the
The
sleeper
quiet ones.
koalas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't want to mess with a koala, man.
I was that way
I
growing
I,
up.
I may I know, right? But yeah, so it's a really cool universe. I've played it multiple times. Played it most recently in Salt Lake City at Permissionless. So that's how I have quite a few of these cards. So if you're interested, it's a $50 gift card to get started. It should get you quite a bit while you're in there. I'll have a sweepstakes for that. Just follow us on our Twitter at Beacon DeFi. You can follow me at C Soriano on Twitter as well. Follow Ken at Raleigh_CA. Follow all of us, and you'll get a chance to win this along with some secret swag packs. I've been ordered
Mm.
by my wife to get rid of all the swag here in the basement. So mainly because I'm going to be getting a ton more. In fact,
Yeah.
I actually purged half my wardrobe uh, over the weekend to bring to local donation bin of choice here to help out the local community, mainly because uh, being a founder here in Web3 and DeFi, half my wardrobe is Web3 project
Yeah.
T-shirts and
Yeah.
blockchain
Yeah.
stuff. So I was wearing my BNB chain shirt yesterday. That was
Oh
kind of
man.
wild, and that was a quality shirt
Each day.
actually.
Yeah, each day is a new swag. I last year I went to 3 conferences and I got better each time. You know, it's like, okay, I brought too much in this suitcase. Let me not
Mhm.
bring so I can bring some back for my wife and family and whatnot because the swag, we went swag
Swag,
hunting.
man.
You got to. Yeah, the
We
swag
have
is
to.
you have to.
Oh, Denver is going to be nuts because Denver is the largest ETH and
Yeah.
overall crypto conference in the world for DeFi. So, uh, again, we're 2 weeks away from the main event. It does start on the 23rd if you're part of the hackathon or if you want to learn how to become a Web3 or DeFi developer, well, Web3 developer, really. That is Camp Biddle. That is free. So if you know anybody who is interested in becoming a developer in this space to maybe find a career here, go to the Biddleathon. That is a free camp that is there for you, and you get to build stuff and meet and network with people. There's going to be tens of thousands of people there. Last year, roughly about 17 to 18,000, I think, overall each day. Now that we're back in a good market and there's been a lot of shipping going on, I think that number is going to be much higher to like the 25, 26K per day that we saw 2 years ago. So
Wow.
really excited to meet with you guys. We're going to be doing a lot of pounds, a lot of elbows, because I'm not coming home with a conference cough, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
goodness gracious. This
Be
this is
careful.
probably like what 4 times as big as permissionless.
Oh
I mean,
yeah. Oh
permissionless
yeah.
was awesome, but wow,
That's what I'm
20,000.
telling you guys. If you want to come out, we'll
I
go
need
get
to.
some food and get some stuff. It's actually since you're developer relations, it's a really good place for you to find talent. Just a really good place just to interact with people. So
When is this
um,
next weekend?
I know it starts on the 20th. The hackathon itself, the Bidlathon's on the 23rd, but the main event starts the 26th, and it goes all the way to Sunday, March 2nd. So we'll
Hey,
be
my
there
birthday's
early.
the 22nd. Might have to tell my wife to
No
little
way. Well,
birthday gift.
happy early birthday to you, sir. That's
Thank you,
next
thank you.
Saturday, bro.
Yeah, next Saturday, which is crazy.
Yeah, my
34.
good for you.
Thank you,
God, I
thank
missed
you.
34. That was a good age.
It's been awesome so far.
Yeah, man. So excited to see you all in Denver again. If you want to attend my um my workshop, and it's going to be on high risk stuff, by the way, something we don't normally talk about, but something that I'm going to lean into my degen side, kind of get you through some of the experiences that I've had in my 5 years in this space. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. Looking at the markets, my friend. Oh my, what happened here? I woke up to like people with lots of sad faces, like you got a case of the Mondays or something, the Tuesdays, brother. With CPI numbers coming in flat, or actually worse than what we were thinking. So markets tumbled a bit off of that news, but clearly we have a lot of institutional and whale dip buyers that have just been buying and accumulating. 2654 ETH is not lagging this time around, ladies and gentlemen. They're back up to a decent level. They're back up 2.5 on the hour. So, but there's some announcements that have been going on. Probably won't be able to get to today, but hats off to Arbitrum. Big news from them today. So, looking at bubbles, I don't know exactly why there is Hex and Pulse chain on my screen,
Maybe some
but
news.
I don't know. Regardless, look at the move for Phantom Sonic, up 16% on the day. Good for them. We still got BNB also. What dip, basically? BNB is just charging off this stuff that they had over the weekend. So
Wow. I don't know if there's
look,
a clear trend with these tokens that are going up. I mean, I'm not seeing, we see Atom, Dot. Maybe these are
yep.
some of the ENS, maybe some of the older plays, cycles ago are Uni. So maybe these are some of the older plays. People are
I
wanting
hope
to go
so.
back to the fundamental coins. Yeah. With good
I love
fundamentals.
it because looking at stuff like Atom, Near, Jito, pad my bags, guys. Keep going, keep buying. Ondo at 2.7 with their announcement of their layer one Ondo chain, which is coming soon the official RWA chain. We talked about that last week. So yeah, that's going to be big news. So again, if you want to learn more, if you want to join us here, feel free to join us again. For our audio listeners, we are back on our screen here for our free group, Total Value Locked from Beacon DeFi. Join the thousands of people. I can say that now because we're over 1,000. In fact, our 1-year birthday for TVL happens on the 20th of February. So I will be doing extra giveaways or something like that. I'll even give away coaching calls if you want one-on-one coaching with me as a result of our 1-year birthday for TVL. Really excited about that. Guys, you have made this community so awesome. We've got a huge community of action takers, people who are excited about DeFi, excited about blockchain and crypto investing. This is the place to be if you want to learn how to take advantage of the big digital asset revolution that's been happening over the last 6 months. There's a lot of hype, a lot of things, people talking about Bitcoin. My parents are now, the first thing they say when I talk to them is, "Hey, how's Bitcoin doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's doing awesome. I don't even look anymore. We're in a bull market. I'm looking at everything
your
up."
app. Oh, goodness. I'm glad you are. I'm glad you're positive. My portfolio, it's working right now. Pretty happy. Well, not happy, but we'll see what happens. And it's funny that your parents were mentioning, Bitcoin and whatnot. My mother-in-law popped in our chat two chats ago. So
I saw that. Yes,
the hive is growing. The Beacon Hive is.
I love it.
Congrats with the anniversary coming up too.
Thank you, sir. I will tell you, when people ask about, do you care about impermanent loss and unrealized profit and stuff like that, I'm like, no, because I'm not selling. Doesn't matter if I don't sell, right?
The goal is to get Bitcoin, acquire more Bitcoin.
Acquire more Bitcoin, acquire more ETH, acquire more altcoins, beta plays. Things are just going to continuously go up here in this bull market. So lock in, don't sell, please. We all know why, because all kinds of other institutions are buying ahead of you. Record buys from not only, they're now called strategy. They're not called MicroStrategy. They're just called strategy.
Just strategy.
Meta Planet from Japan, Galaxy, they're all buying because people are selling. And they're buying quickly because I think there's going to be some bullish indicators that's going to splash the market even higher moving forward. Plus, we're in the run up to ETH Denver. There's always a lot of appreciation for ETH and multiple coins behind it running up to ETH Denver. So a lot of buy the rumor, sell the news kind of stuff. Probably so. Again, not financial advice. Do your own research on that. All right, let's move on to the news, sir. So, World Liberty Financial has been on the move, no pun intended. And I realize that you cannot see exactly what I mean by that. So let me just up the. There
you mean the biggest news wasn't Luka getting traded to the Lakers?
That was last week's moves. That
was last week. Okay.
Honestly, I know that was a huge trade for a lot of people with Luka Doncic no longer being a Dallas Mav, and he really got penalized for making that move. I mean, he lost out on his max contract and all those super incentives. But you know what? The man makes money. He's got a bag.
He's chilling. He has a whole bag. Oof. I need the Luka bag.
A grown man bag is what he's got. But I use the word move as a pun here because Movement Labs, which is really strong play if you're doing a beta for Solana and some of these other like Sui and Aptos. It is the umbrella organization behind Sui, Aptos, and also the Movement AVS on Eigenlayer. World Liberty bought quite a bit of it. They've actually bought several million in Move, along with ETH, along with ENA. So they're buying. They're actually moving. They're going on a bit of a shopping spree. So the reason for that, I believe, is that there were rumors that last week they were looking to do token swaps with multiple protocols. The deal was it's an over-the-counter trade, minimum 10 million. So swap for treasury swapping, basically. It's like you give us 10 million of you can get 10 million of WLFI or whatever the value was. The reason for that is because they actually released yesterday. They have created what's called their macro strategy, a strategic coin reserve. I think is the word. Our strategic token reserve. And it's designed to bolster leading projects like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptos. in essence, if you guys are wondering how do you read this, well, they are technically built on top of a couple of lending AMMs, but they have a strategic partnership with Aave. So ultimately, they're looking to create a nice market where it's easy to deposit and borrow against your assets. Something that we love to do as a strategy. If you go watch on our Twitter what we did last Friday for our free Beat the Banks training, I talked about why there are multiple strategies that you can do with DeFi, and one of them is lending, and that's basically what World Liberty is going to be having at their core. So they're going to be able to foster growth, build trust, all that type of stuff. What this basically means, guys, is that yes, 3 days before he took office, Trump and the First Lady Melania Trump, they released a meme coin. What this also means, Ken, is that Trump isn't going anywhere. They bought a whole bunch of coins the day he got inaugurated. They've been buying ever since because the market's been dipping, and they're just buying and buying and buying. So the Trump brand is going to be here in decentralized finance. They'll probably be buying TAO in just a minute.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Ever since Trump and all that stuff really came, the market hasn't performed well, but that might be by design. You can scoop up some cheap crypto. So there's a lot of bullish news going on right now. I know we just looked at the chat or the charts. There's a lot of bullish news going on right now. Crypto hasn't really reflected that, but I think it's lagging a little bit right now. And that could be by design, so we'll see what happens in the upcoming months, but there's just so much bullish, interesting things happening right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, and let's not call it market manipulation because that's a bad look.
Yeah.
But, taking advantage of opportunities because people are paper handing, here, contributing to this phenomenon. Essentially, when a dip comes, you buy more, right? It's all about opportunity chasing in this bull market. It's all about chasing opportunities. And yes, there are meme coins and all these other things that have no utility, but for protocols that do have utility, the big guys are scooping it up. And that just basically means that the Trump brand isn't going anywhere in this space, and it's looking to grow, and they're growing quickly. So keep that in mind if you're trying to figure out your strategy. I mean, if you really want to copy World Liberty Financial and what the Trump technology companies are doing, you can do that because they're not going to pick losers. I can tell you that much. It's going to be one for the ages if you want to try and follow trades of specific entities. But yeah, that's big news for them. A couple of big things, and like in the title of today's thing, Unichain is officially live. Unichain is the OP superchain ETH Layer 2 optimistic rollup from Uniswap, the OG protocol, the original decentralized exchange.
Interesting.
Yeah, sure. In fact, I can tell you that we knew that this has been live for weeks. But
man, so much news constantly. I missed this one. Wow.
Yeah, this is so they're live now. They've been soft live for a good month, and there's been bridges to get over there. Same bridges you would use for, specific things like Abstract and some of these other blockchains. But the thing about Unichain is it is an OP superchain. It is a decentralized stage 1 rollup from day one, meaning they have optimized fault proofs baked in, something that Optimism actually removed and is bringing back in later this year. So Unichain is actually going to be joining the OP superchain in terms of interoperability, probably sometime later this year. It'll be interesting to kind of see how Unichain and Uniswap kind of play with Velodrome, because Velodrome is now the meta dex across all OP superchain dexes. So they're going to be fighting for some TVL there, or at least Uniswap's going to be looking up at Velodrome moving forward. In that move, but we're definitely going to learn more about this at ETH Denver. I am expecting Uniswap to have a very nice booth this year, and I have one of my favorite beanies that I wear is a black beanie with a pink unicorn on the front from Uniswap. That I love it. It's one of my faves. I'm excited.
I need to go to ETH Denver. Like all this news. I mean, like
come on, Ken.
Yeah, I might have to go. I might have to see you out there, Chris. We might have to get some. I've had some really good food in Denver too. So.
Oh yeah.
Good food in Denver.
I will say, just as an aside to all of our listeners, we're definitely doing 3 things in Denver. Number 1, we're getting Star Ramen, which is on the think the south central side of Denver. Fantastic ramen. Has a
I think
guy
that's what I
who
had. Yeah.
really the guy who creates the brats lives upstairs from the restaurant. Comes down in the
Me and my
middle of the
wife went there.
night. Oh, my mouth is watering just thinking about it.
Mine too means I have to go to. I got to
Yes,
tell my
sir.
wife after this. Yeah, we got to go.
And then we're also going to go to Buc-ee's because there is a Buc-ee's north of Denver on I-25. I-25, yeah. And I haven't been to Buc-ee's in a minute, and I love Buc-ee's. I love salted caramel beaver nuggets, and I like their barbecue. And
Funny enough, my wife just drove up from Florida probably a week ago, and she
yes,
stopped
sir.
at Buc-ee's. We got Buc-ee's
As she
shirt.
should.
We got the barbecue. She was on 95, and
Yep.
she was like, "Ken, should I stop at?" I'm like, "Sure, yeah." So we got my whole family some barbecue, and it was
It's
delicious.
not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, all things considering, it's the world's biggest gas station.
Yeah,
but it's good.
and it gets the job done.
It does, yeah, for sure. The jerky is good. All of the desserts are good, but the beaver nuggets, which are just kind of like cheese, not cheese puffs, but like puffs, like puffs, but they come in multiple flavors. The salted caramel, that's the trick. That's the move right there, man. I have weak, and I'm a type 2 diabetic. I am weak for things like that. Anyway, we are off the rails.
Talking about Buc-ee's.
I know we're talking about Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's, come to DeFi, man. I'm happy to onboard your entire organization.
Buc-ee's coin.
There you go, Buc-ee's coin. I'm happy to bring your entire supply line for your 3PL and all that on the blockchain, much like Amazon and Walmart are doing now. Anyway, Unichain's live. Barbecue and Buc-ee's. There we go. There are some things happening on Unichain now. You can bridge there fairly easily. Why am I not following them? Okay, interesting. But you're good to go. Plus, you have all of these protocols already on, ready to go, and all of them pretty much. I mean, if you got to work with Uniswap. Plus, Uniswap V4 launched the Friday before last, so really excited about that. Wow. Uniswap's going to be the talk of the town, I think, in Denver. If not,
I could see it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is sometimes when these chains launch, they just don't have that ecosystem there yet. You need to build on top. It's a fresh chain, so to see that graph of all the graph, QuickNode, Lido, Etherscan, Circle. Of course, since it's Uniswap, of course, but they're rolling already from the get-go.
Yeah, the meme coins have been pretty good too, I will say, as someone who has a network of such things. But strangely, to me, that's not the biggest news of the week. To me, and there's actually two bigger things, and I think the dTAO stuff is the biggest news of the week. But the next big thing of the week, Lido, the long-standing liquid staking protocol, V3 is now live for Ethereum staking infrastructure. I'll tell you why this is interesting to me specifically. So there is a blog. These are all going to be in our show notes. Again, feel free to sign up for TVL. It's completely free if you want access to the show notes. And the way that liquid staking works, for anybody who is unfamiliar with liquid staking, is where you take so the old way. Let me kind of step back here. The old way, and on most blockchains even now, to be going onto a blockchain, the easiest way to earn yield is to delegate your coins to a validator, because a validator is what finalizes and verifies blocks to be written to the blockchain every couple of seconds. And you have a economic incentive, I guess would be the word, by earning yield for presenting your let's say in this case ETH to the network, in terms of I'm staking with this validator. That way we can keep validators honest, because we want to have two things here. We want to have decentralization through multiple validators being available with validators. So you don't have one validator that owns the entire network. That's not a 51% attack or a majority type of move there. And then really the other part is when you do that, you don't get access to your funds. So you're literally just, it's like a savings account, right? You're earning yield on it, sure, like anywhere between 1% to 3%, depending on which validator you're with, and your money just stays there. There is actually a cooldown period when you lock in with a validator. I think it's like 14 to 21 days, depending on which network you're on. And that's the old way of earning yield. You can still do that, by the way. You can do that on Solana. You can do that on Cosmos IBC. You can do it on ETH. You can do it on AVAX even for a bunch of different. That's an old mechanism that's still available, really reliable. But liquid staking, with Lido, I guess you could say they pioneered, kind of took that to a new level. So you would take your ETH, you would stake it in Lido because they themselves own a ton of they own a ton of delegators for different validators. And what they would do is give you in return a liquid staked marker token, meaning this is a token that you hold in your wallet that represents your position here on our network. Now, the fun part about that is that they're also what we call a composable protocol, a composable token, which is that this STETH is. You can now take the STETH, you can do things with it. You can go present it as collateral at a place like Aave to borrow against. You can put it in a liquidity pool and earn yield on that. Now you have opportunities to stretch your yield with a composable token, what we call, like we call them Lego bricks or money bricks, right? Picks and shovels. These are all things that you can use to help build further yield-bearing strategies in the ecosystem. Now, Lido does this not just for ETH. They do it for Sol. They do it for Matic. They do it for a variety of different tokens. ETH is not their only service that they do this for, but it's a very large umbrella. It's a really cool mechanism. And for those who are for those who have been here for a while, they kind of got overshadowed at the end of 2022 with Eigenlayer. I'm sorry, end of 2023 with Eigenlayer, because Eigenlayer created a new type of primitive called a liquid restake token, which Lido didn't participate in at the beginning. So you had companies like KelpDAO, Stater, EtherFi, one of our partners, and just you had people giving this new type of primitive out there that was different than with what Lido had. Now, Lido has kind of stepped up, and now they have a liquid restake token that is not partnered with Eigenlayer. It's actually partnered with Symbiotic. So, we'll see where we go here. Anyway, I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole. The reason why this is interesting is now they have flexible options for your staking. We have what they're calling modular staking now on Ethereum. So they actually have a new primitive here called the ST Vault, or a staking vault, which allows you to have customized use cases, not only for just what you're earning, but what your money is going towards. So they're trying to hit specifically three types of people: institutional stakers, which I think is probably the biggest piece of this, where you can have large companies who are coming down looking to build on top of their current RWA stablecoins, looking into more ETH types of investment strategies. You have node operators who are existing validators, and then curators and asset managers, and just regular stakers. But it's going to be something that you can do because these are wrapped around the existing liquid staking Lido core. So you have these vaults that can do other things. So that's the really cool part about it. And I heard you say interesting there, Ken. It's interesting it's good to have options, right? To be able to take your existing STETH that you're already staking in core and now have an even better option to go with it in terms of really well yielding staking vaults. And I think you can do this with STETH or just regular ETH, and you're going to have liquid restaking like strategies on top. So to me, that's the most interesting part about it, which I like. And because they're Lido, they're going to be integrated with so many deep infrastructure partners here in this space. You'll be able to most likely see these vaults have multiple protocols that are going on. So going back to the tweet, let's see. Yeah, restaking exposure, leverage staking, and institutional staking. Those are the three parts that really kind of opened my eye. It really just kind of piqued my interest when I saw that. So as an infrastructure guy, Ken, what is this? What kind of thoughts do you have off the top on something like this?
I'm seeing over and over again. Well, the first thing that my mind goes to is maybe they're really trying to not switch things up, but bring this to the table for institutions. I'm seeing institutions, and this was what I was going to ask you. I haven't read through all this, so is there a main takeaway for you with all this? Are they what's a lot of more flexibility here with V3, but I've seen the word institution quite a bit. And I don't really think institutions necessarily are playing around with DeFi like that, just because of, it's a game that's, risky, but, a lot of these like Lido and whatnot could be trying to bring that here. So is that a main takeaway that you've gotten from researching this, from looking into this, just kind of more institutions? What do you think?
Yeah, because they're already here. Like the one thing that we can definitely say about this last bull market, that's we're still in. We're not at a cycle top or anything. And the reason why the market looks the way that it does, in my opinion, is because institutions, they front ran retail. Retail still isn't here yet. They're coming in little pieces, but they're not back like where they were back in 2021. Institutions are here. They've already set up shop. We're looking at multiple institutions here because of BlackRock. So they're bringing in money on chain. They're looking for other assets besides T-bills to really look into for getting good institutional, rather just better value, I guess. And they see the value of Ethereum overall as a long-standing play because there are good controls on ETH mainnet. There are multiple blockchains that we don't really talk about that are institution grade with controls that can easily spin up things that will then be compatible with stuff like these vaults. And with Uniswap V4 coming last week, we now have the ability to have what are called hooks, or smart contract controls pre-liquidity provision that allow you to do multiple things before you enter in a position or make a swap, that type of thing. So something we talked about last week in our market making liquidity call with Uniswap before was the word rehypothecation, which is the ability to take liquidity and use it for something else before its intended purpose. So yeah, I'm really interested to see. And I think Susan has a really good insight here, is that there are multiple institutions, especially through ETFs, and the new proposal that is acknowledged to have in-kind redemption for BTC on these ETFs possibly coming this year, and that would be big for institutions, because now you don't just have shares in a company, you actually can redeem it for actual Bitcoin. So I do see that with ETH also in terms of the potential just for the DeFi purpose. So yeah.
Oh, this is great. Yeah. As I always say, it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. But the last cycle, I believe, was it DeFi summer or something with DeFi, where a lot of this was, farming and whatnot, and taking one token and putting to another thing. So the last cycle, it was kind of the birth of a lot of that stuff. Now we're seeing a lot of this actually come to fruition. I mean, this is 4 years later, so a lot of these things take time, and we're seeing it now. We were mucking around in DeFi in the early stages, and we knew there was something there. And the same things are happening now within this cycle. There's new things, agents, AI, whatnot coming out, and we're kind of playing around and mucking around with it. But there's some companies, there's some protocols that'll stay for sure, and yet to be determined. Sometimes we're seeing some of it now, but this is just an example of it takes time to build these things. But you keep working, you keep building, and people will use it, people will come, you build better products, and this is just an example. Lido has been around for years.
Oh yeah, for years. This is what I like to call easy money, right? Because it's easy to get 3% on ETH, or 1.5% on ETH through Lido and some of these node operator stakers. That's fairly easy money. That's why a lot of people, when they go in infrastructure, they go with something like this, because they know that is easy yield that they're going to get. Now at ETH Denver, if they talk about a newer staking mechanism that reduces the size that you need to have a validator down to like 8 or 4 ETH even, then that's gonna cause interesting ripples, because it's 32 ETH right now to have an ETH validator. So to be able to get lots, to get revenue as a validator, even as a way to diversify, including being a liquid staker, there's a lot of options. And I think it opens things up to retail and just everyday investors who, want to have what I call easy money, because it's just tied into infrastructure. So, that money is just going to continue to pump, and it's good passive income. I know multiple people in my network that do this. So This is going to be big news for them, specifically with the vaults, because it gets them more primitives, more options to continue their passive income rather than just sitting there and just holding ST tokens. They can put them in these vaults and earn even more, probably in a structure and at least a landscape that they're familiar with and that they trust. And that's the thing Lido has. They have trust up until this point because they've been around forever. What we call a Lindy company. And speaking of things that have been around forever, obviously, there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't natively a DeFi asset, right? Bitcoin is its own proof of work, layer one blockchain, miners, all of this. No smart contracts, no shared security. I mean, they have shared security, but no specific, model like they have like in Solana, EVM, that type of stuff. But as much as we want to say they don't want to make BTC-Fi happen, they're continuing to do it. We've seen it through things like BlockDAG, right? Ordinals, runes, and then we have things like Stacks, which was the first layer 2 for Bitcoin that was recognized by the SEC. Nakamoto upgrade happened on the 29th of October last year, which really changed the game for Stacks, in my opinion. We did a masterclass on this last year. If you're interested in that, feel free to go to TVL and sign up for the Beacon Newsletter to get access for that, or the mastermind. But I'm really bullish on Stacks, and this part is interesting to me mainly because for a lot of our members, they're trying to figure out what can you do with BTC. Well, you'll never be able to take native BTC and just pop it into DeFi because it's not an ERC SPL token. It is a Bitcoin token. So you're always going to have what's called a derivative token. It's going to be a token that is pegged to the same value, and you get to hold it and have it custodied in the system and be able to redeem it one-to-one, regardless of which way you go. And that's what they've done here with Stacks. Now, Rootstock, another EVM-compatible chain, they have their RBTC, which has their two-way peg already established. But Stacks it's faster because they have 5-second blocks that they anchor in and batch with Bitcoin layer 1 blocks. And I think it's just a much more robust system. They're moving forward quickly, and they've always had the ability to earn yield in Bitcoin rewards by doing what they call stacking with the STX token. But now they have SBTC now in the system, which is their one-to-one peg, which you can go back and forth with. So the thing was that when they started out, they had a 1,000 BTC cap. That got obliterated quickly, like within less than 24 to 72 hours, I think. They're raising it to 3,000 now. So there's more ability for you with some of your native Bitcoin to come in on February 25th. You can stake now, and on February 25th, you'll start earning rewards for having BTC in the system, which is going to be miner rewards, stacking rewards, and a couple other incentives that they have there. It's going to start on February 25th, and if you deposit, you'll be able to withdraw your SBTC back to BTC in redemption sometime in March. But for me personally, if this was me, this is a long-term play so that some of my BTC can run. I would never put all of my Bitcoin in this, by the way. BTC-Fi is still young. There's still things that can happen. But if you're looking to take, let's say you own like 1 Bitcoin or like 3 Bitcoin, you want to take like a quarter Bitcoin and get it moving, get it earning some yield, this is a great option. So definitely, check it out. You can go to stacks.co or stacks.org to learn more about what's going on with the rewards. Really great option, really bullish on Stacks. And
And Stacks has been around for years.
Yeah, they've been around for a while. They've solved the problem with regards to getting their block finality in with Bitcoin layer 1. So they have that shared Bitcoin security. So it's a really great system. The Nakamoto hard fork really made that available. So now all they need is more protocols. They have a couple of different perp dexes. They have things like Alex, which is a huge liquidity platform. They have multiple wallets now. We recommend X first, but you can also use Leather and some of these others that are out there. But yeah, I'm really pumped for SBTC. I'm pumped for more of these other Bitcoin layer 2s like BOB, Rootstock, Citra, Core, BitLayer, all of these that follow the BitVM. I'm excited to see where they go. Now, the wrinkle on all these is that they are EVM. Most of them are EVM adjacent, so it's kind of the irony. But at the same time, there are groups like Citra and even Starknet to a degree that are able to do zero knowledge proofs on Bitcoin layer 1. So I'm curious to see where we go from here. But it's waking up. The other product is going to be Satoshi protocol. They have what's called SAT-USD. It's an over collateralized debt protocol, so a CDP stablecoin. You can actually mint SAT-USD with various BTC derivatives. They are now integrated with Layer 0, which means they are omni-fungible token, cross-chain compatible, where you can take SAT-USD and use that across multiple blockchains, anything in EVM, Solana, any BTC Layer 2. So we're talking about B Squared, Bob, BitLayer, I mentioned most of these already, Core, Hyperliquid.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that's huge.
Uh-huh.
Interesting. Add that to the to-do list to do more research on.
Yeah, and it's actually very easy to use. You can go from looks like okay. Looks like it just bobbed to something else. Anyway, Bob's a layer 2 in the OP superchain. So there is that.
Man, so much interesting stuff happening.
I know. And I thought you were going to come on a fairly boring news cycle.
This is just telling me. Yeah, I just need to. I mean, you can't keep track of it all. I don't know how you're doing it, Chris, but
it's a lot of work, brother. I can tell you right now. It's a lot of work.
But all this stuff is so interesting. I want to dive in the Lido thing too, but this as well. Yeah.
And this is stuff we talk about. Again, if you want to join us in our communities, either at Total Value Locked or if you want to join our Beacon Mastermind, where the best of the best are, feel free to check it out, school.com/beacon. I'm going to go ahead and move on so we can get to our focus topic. This one just came up this morning, and I was like, all right, I'll play. USDT has kind of been, even though they're like the third largest digital asset in the world, right, by market cap, and they're the largest stablecoin by a country mile, with USDC second, and then I think they own like 75% of the market cap in terms of stablecoins, and then USDC, and then it's a fight between USDE, which is from Athena, and Sky, which is the old maker. Legacy Mesh does what CCTP is for Circle, which is their cross-chain transferability protocol for USDC, for native USDC. Now with USDT 0, which is kind of their version of that, you can now, with Arbitrum as the chain hub, I found this the most interesting. You can now bridge USDT easily between Ethereum, Layer 1 Ethereum, Layer 1 TON, that's Telegram's blockchain.
Wow.
Arbitrum and Tron, and then also there's two more. It's Ink. Yeah, Ink and Barachain. There we go. How that happened, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting group.
Barachain win.
Interesting group of chains that they've supported currently, but wow.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because it's a very eclectic mix. Now, there's a ton of USDT on Tron. Billions, like 44 billion of USDT is on Tron. TON is a very popular up-and-coming blockchain. Pretty slow unless you use the mini apps, but DeFi is expensive and slow and unreliable. Just saying, build that Polygon CDK layer 2 quickly, please. And then Ethereum mainnet, right? So you have that, and with Arbitrum in the middle, with Ink, which is Kraken's layer 2. It's an OP superchain. And then Barachain, the layer 1 proof of liquidity Chad chain. I'm not even call it. That's all I'll just call it, Chad chain, because they throw lavish Chad events.
Yeah. I had a meeting with him probably 4 months ago. Some of the Barachain guys, and they were all right. They're cool. It was a fun meeting. Yeah, it was a fun meeting.
Yeah, shout out to Smokey. Shout out to MVP. Hope to see you guys in East Denver. Want to definitely talk shop about what you guys are building with Barachain. We're actually going to be covering that this Friday for our Beacon Accelerator Mastermind members on our town hall call, which happens before our free Beat the Banks training. So look out for that. We'll be looking at Unichain and Barachain on Friday. So yeah, this is for me, this is the part. It is seamless Tether interoperability. No secret that we've always been a little iffy on Tether, mainly because the backing of Tether has always come into question, and it often is depegged I wouldn't say it's terribly depegged, but to see no one really panics when USDT is at 97, 98 cents. It's just kind of like Solana. It's like Solana, failing transactions. It's just something that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is big news, and I'm interested to see that good old Arbitrum's at the middle of this. That actually is helpful for them because they have Arbitrum Stylus, which has their multi-VM technology, so they can run Solidity, they can run Rust, they can run Go, multiple C++, multiple types of languages in their virtual machine to execute smart contract code, which at least on the non-Solidity side is much cheaper and much faster, probably the main driver for all of these chains in the background, because these are all they're all technically, except for ETH mainnet and Barrett chain, they're not EVM compatible. You need a different wallet to go into Tron. You need a different wallet for Telegram's Ton. So yeah, really interesting news here. I'm very interested to see what they have here, because Tether's been making moves. They reported 2.5 billion in profit in Q3. They introduced Hadron, and also Alloyed Gold, which is their XAUT token, which is their coin that is backed by gold. So Tether's making some moves. And if you guys are not familiar, I see you, Tether. Howard Lutnick, the incoming Commerce Secretary into Trump's administration, he is the chairman of Cantor Fitzgerald. They own 5% of a stake in Tether. So when I talk about there's going to be some pro stablecoin regulation coming, there is some pro stablecoin regulation coming. So this is big news in the run up to seeing USDT anywhere and everywhere and all at once. Shout out to that great movie.
And huge for Arbitrum being kind of at the center of all that as well. That's huge for them. But
yeah,
while USDT hasn't had the best reputation, I'd say this is positive. Kind of shining in a different. I mean, the chains are a little interesting, but I'm happy about this move. This is exciting. This is more to come. We'll see.
I'm happy for Arbitrum. For me, I'm happy for Arbitrum, because Arbitrum, after they stopped their stimmies, their incentives, started to deflate a little bit. But I think this is going to keep them solidly. For them to be a hub chain for this is probably the best part, because that means that you're going to get faster and cheaper transactions between these, especially as Layer 0 is now on Telegram as well. That's not in the news, but we're going to see some interesting moves here to make things more abstracted. And what this means for you as a casual user, if you're watching us for the first time, what's been happening over the last 6 to 10 months, really just abstracting everything away from you as a user. You'll just be able to just have a wallet and just do things. You're not gonna have to worry about what chain am I on, that it's all just gonna start melting together and working. So you'll have a really good unified experience, and everything that's happening in the background, you can just leave to us because we're nerds for this stuff. But the one thing that we haven't had yet that I'm waiting for is our wallet meta. I called that 2 years ago. I think there's going to be a huge meta in terms of new wallets coming out. It's going to make it easier for you to not have to worry about where it's coming from. You're going to have wallets soon that not only have rollback and account abstraction, but the ability just to fiat import directly into them, which is the biggest reason why CEXs exist, right? Because you still need them to move money down into Bittensor. You need them to move money down into Arbitrum, into Ton. Soon that won't be an issue. And that's going to be the biggest wallet meta push of all. With all of the stable coins coming down and everything too, 2025 is going to be nuts, guys. I'm happy you're here in February because you're still early. So again.
Yeah, with wallets probably could use a little bit of a refresh. I mean, wallet, I'm sure they're constantly working. I just switched over to, I think, Rally or Tally. Rabby wallet.
That's my guy right there, Rabby. Good for you,
Rabby. So I remember when MetaMask first came out, I really didn't understand. But now that they've been here for a while, they probably could use a bit of a refresh and introduce interesting new things, onboarding. That's one of the things too, back in the day when we were working on a DEX, it was, what's the easiest way to get people who aren't familiar with this technology onboarded? Well, do we put this button here? Do we move this over there? How can we really help these people? Because it's not easy. I was talking about this with my dad the other day because he was interested. And still, I mean, he's 75, so it was a little bit difficult. There's still some barriers we can tear down to make
You
it
should have them
easier for
join
people.
TVL.
I should. I should. I'll send him. I sent him the link, so maybe he's watching
Excellent.
right now.
Appreciate that.
Hello,
Yeah, and
Father.
if you are watching, sir, welcome. I'll take care of you, man. Don't worry. Shout out to DeFi.app. We're gonna have them on soon. Shreddy and other members of the team. They are launching a public beta soon, just so you guys know. There's some alpha for you guys. We've had them before. They were on my birthday stream. We did a demo for DeFi.app back in December. You can check that on our YouTube channel. Really promising to really just bridge that sex dex journey, I guess would be the best way to talk about it, where it's just everything's going to be easy. Also, Jupiter, as part of their plan from Catstable, they're having JupeNet, is all-in-one ledger for all kinds of coins. I don't think it's really DeFi facing, more as just token interoperability, honestly, but we'll see what happens. And also Osmosis. I'll even shout out Sunny Agarwal, who's been on our show before. Wow. With their I think it's called Poseidon. I forgot the name. They're looking to do a tokens everywhere type of DEX interoperability scheme as well. So things are in motion, guys. Things are going to get easier and easier. So to all of you who are OGs like us, yay. For those of you who are new, you guys have the best experience improving every single day. But yeah, like Ken said, Rabby is what we recommend to all of our community, along with Brave Browser. So when you first get started, we have you set up Brave, we have you set up Rabby. It's just easy. It's very intuitive. You don't have to do a whole lot. And they have that gas account. That's the game changer. Have you used the gas account, sir?
I have not. Tell me
more. I
more.
will send you so they have their own. So it's Rabby is from the DBank team, right? They built Rabby. It's built on top of MetaMask, so it's based on open source code, and they just have a lot of quality of life improvements. The biggest quality of life improvement that I preach to the high heavens about is the gas account. It is basically, I believe, under the hood, a smart contract that they have in the wallet that is based on their layer 2, the DBank chain, which is an OP super chain. And basically, it allows you to pay for any transaction that you're doing in Rabby using stable coins. Game changer, right? Regardless of which wallet you're using, it's available to all of them. If you connect a hardware wallet like a Trezor or a Ledger, you can also pay with stable coins using the gas account, because yay, smart contracts. So
how am I using Rabby and not using the gas account?
I'll send you a video.
I've been too heads down. I mean, come on.
I'll send you the video.
Please.
Yeah, we've been harping on this. I want to say since August, July. Yeah, so it's a game changer, guys. If you're not using Rabby with the gas account, stop paying ETH, stop paying BNB, stop paying AVAX. Use stables, and it's easy to top off. You can do $10 at a time. Makes your life a lot easier.
Smart. I like that.
Yeah, man. Okay, let's move on to the focus topic. Well, I'll give you as much time as you want here. So
no worries.
dTAO, dynamic TAO, Bittensor. Guys, if you're not familiar with Bittensor is one of my favorite all-time projects. Why? Because they're pushing something that I think is important. Decentralized AI. We have companies like OpenAI. We have companies like Google. We have companies like Anthropic with Claude. We have even with what DeepSeek is doing. We don't want one entity to own all of that, right? Because your data is going up into their cloud, training all that stuff. Bittensor is a decentralized platform for artificial intelligence and learning large language models. That is the core of what Bittensor is really all about. I'll have Ken kind of run through all of the infrastructure in just a minute, but they have multiple what are called subnets that contribute to this. Before it was just like, oh, cool, it's a coin. They built an entire infrastructure, guys, that has built a huge ecosystem that I am supremely impressed with. That is going to be the future of how I think a lot of people are going to be looking at not just artificial intelligence or large language models just for the concept, but also as infrastructure. We have multiple things happening behind the scenes that we talk about here and there on what they're building over there at Bittensor. The one thing that they don't have is an easy way for retail to get there right now. And I think that's the biggest problem they're working on. That's something that's going to happen with tomorrow's upgrade with RAW, their RAW upgrade that's going to happen. And then dTAO, which is Dynamic TAO, happens, I believe, on the 14th, the day after. But I'm going to run through my notes on here, and then I'll have you start going,
Yeah.
Ken. And basically, for those who are curious about what's different between dTAO now and with dynamic dTAO and the subnets, is that dTAO currently is run mainly by validators, right? And you have subnets and all that type of stuff. The biggest change from what I'm seeing, and you feel free to step in where I'm wrong, is that the subnets are going to take a bigger role in terms of how dynamics and token emissions and really just operations are going to happen within the subnet, basically because subnets are now going to have dTAO as both emission and possibly some custom tokens being thrown their way, really just to incentivize not only good subnet behavior, but good protocol and team behavior within those subnets. There's going to be, I guess, economic, not slashing, but punishments for those who are not correctly doing their part in the subnet. So everybody, all I think 64 subnets, will be in compliance and working together to make dTAO overall a really fantastic ecosystem to be a part of. Stakers, before you would have to stake your DAO with a validator, now you're going to stake it with a subnet. And if you go with a good subnet, you may have really good yields based off of that. But if you're with a poor subnet, which will probably get kicked out anyway, you could be getting there in a really poor situation. But it allows you to have both active and passive management of your assets. And I love ecosystems that use game theory specifically for incentivizing honesty and productive good behavior at this level. So that's what I got out of it. I'll go ahead and pass it on to you, Ken, to kind of talk to the group about overall the infrastructure of Bittensor, where they kind of came from and where they're moving to. I think is probably the biggest thing with this move.
Yeah. No, the great rundown. Essentially, the previous, so Bittensor started, there was no subnets. What are subnets? Subnets are kind of like these mini networks within Bittensor that fulfill a specific purpose. If you think a subnet could be, let's use the large language model subnet. Think pitting ChatGPT versus Claude, getting the best result and incentivizing each party to give the best result. What Bittensor is essentially doing is they have these little sub networks, and you incentivize each subnet through this dTAO. The previous model was you would delegate your assets to a validator, and then you would kind of fight for emissions that way, but it was a little centralized. Now with the dTAO, each subnet will have their own token, and that price of that token will then determine the emissions that subnet gets. And the reason why they wanted to include this was we can have more of a fair voting system for valuing these subnets, because it was kind of like this fight. Hey, this validator, give me your put your weights onto my subnet. There's a lot of conversations going on in the back end. Why? Hey,
Politicking.
we're good. Yeah, politicking. So with the inclusion of dTAO, 64 tokens, 64 subnet tokens, the price of those tokens will determine the emissions that the subnet will get. So at Taoshi, Taoshi's SN8 will have SN8 token. And if Taoshi does what it's supposed to do, the price of SN8 token should rise. Therefore, Taoshi should get more emissions. And we all sit back and drink our pina coladas on the beach. But I like this approach just because it just should have better, fair mechanics for subnets, valuing subnets. There won't be so much oversight in the future. And there's a lot of plays. Now with the token, there's a lot of other things that can be done as well. So I know some subnets also have tokens on different chains as well. So I'm not really sure how they're going to pair having a token within Bittensor now, but it's an interesting infrastructure update and excited to see what happens. I've been following it and have put out a few videos if people wanted to know more about Taoshi and dTAO and how to acquire dTAO. You can check out my Twitter, Raleigh_CA. But time will tell. They put out some they put out a white paper on it. A lot of people have been dissecting it, going through it. trying to predict the what's going to happen with this, but excited to see. And this is just going to help, hopefully, stability in the future, adding more subnets. And another way I like to kind of describe subnets is basically it's like a dApp or a token on Ethereum, essentially. Now Bittensor is more of a Ethereum based type. It doesn't have the EVM, but it's kind of sort of this launch pad for other applications, other tokens, whatnot. So applications that have their tokens. So excited. It's going to bring a lot of eyes. It's going to bring a lot of innovation. I believe in April too, there's going to be a Bittensor conference too. So there's just a lot of things happening in Bittensor right now. Super excited for. So that's a quick little rundown. We can get more into it too if you want, but just a quick little rundown of dTAO on Bittensor.
Yeah, I guess the question I have is how is dTAO something you can buy, or is dTAO something that has to be earned or farmed?
dTAO, so you don't farm it, but dTAO is something that you acquire by adding your TAO to. So each of these subnets will have their own liquidity pool. The earlier versions of Uniswap, it was just an ETH pair and a token pair. These subnets will have their own liquidity pool, just like the earlier versions of ETH. So SN8 will have their liquidity pool, and in order to get your dTAO, you'll have to have TAO, and then you'll add it to the subnet, and you'll add it to the liquidity pool of that subnet, and then you just stake your TAO there, and essentially you have your alpha token or dTAO. Now, I'm not sure if it's something you will actually be holding in your wallet, because reading the white paper, there won't be. You'll have to transfer your dTAO within a subnet, so I'm not even sure if you'll hold it in your wallet, send it to another address. But essentially, to acquire that dTAO, you will have to have TAO and then add it to that liquidity pool.
Okay, so it's more of like a derivative, more for dTAO, because you will be able to farm that against TAO itself in multiple instances, depending on which subnet you're on. One thing I wanted to bring up, and again, thank you, Ken, for that. I'll probably ask another question in a second, but one thing I wanted to kind of just give the group a little bit of bullishness on is, I've been bullish on TAO forever. I have multiple people in my circles that are bullish on TAO. There is a layer 2 blockchain in the OP superchain called Mode Network. They started out as just a regular layer 2. They recently have actually changed their mission to becoming more of a DeFi as in a DEF AI based chain with AI agents, really pushing large language model based investing in that type of thing into their blockchain. So they're really more of an AI facing blockchain rather than just a regular L2 on the superchain, which I think was smart because it brought over a lot of new TVL, a lot of interested eyeballs into that. Something they released this morning, a synth. So they created a subnet number 50, by the way, on Bittensor called Synth, and it's gonna provide plumbing for AI specifically through Bittensor's infrastructure, access to stores and stuff like that. When I mean stores, I mean data stores, and just having predictive intelligence for financial agents, which I think is fascinating. We talked about that 3 weeks ago with Reserve's DTFs, their decentralized token folios. I know. With Franklin, their AI agent coming up. So excited for DTF for anybody who's interested in that. I want to learn more about that when we go to Denver specifically. But they have a white paper out on how they're going to power with their data layer predictive intelligence of financial agents. And for me, that's like, all right, that's a bold claim, guys. That's a real bold claim. But if you've built it, and you think that this is going to be what's going to be rocking, I mean, this could be a super huge data store and a way to get a lot of shine onto Bittensor, especially if they can figure out a way to easily bridge between Mode and the superchain and Synth. So,
yeah, and this is like, I know a lot of people think that Bittensor LLMs AI, but it's basically subnets just don't have to be AI on Bittensor. What it really is it's a incentive network. It's whatever you want. You can, I know there's storage, there's compute, there's chunking where you're taking all this data and breaking it down into more bite-sized pieces for these LLMs. There's so many different types of use cases, kind of whatever you want to think of within these subnets. They're really just these subnets of this competition and dTAO will kind of just be the scorer of that competition. So it's markets all the way down with its subnets.
Are they all taken? Are all the subnets taken?
Currently, yeah, all the slots are taken. There's 64 slots.
Yeah, I was like, we really should have jumped on the train to be an
Yeah.
educational subnet.
That could have been interesting. I mean, they're gonna add more subnets. So I'll ping you when I get word.
Yeah, let me know, because I think that's important.
Yeah,
No,
for
but
sure.
that's because Subnet 8 PTN, proprietary trading network. You have stuff like Sturdy and Subnet 10, who's building, the AVM side chain. There's multiple different chains out there just doing different things, but that's part of the interesting economy. I don't even want to call it just like an ecosystem. It's a full economy inside of Bittensor. So when you're looking at things like Balaji, for example, has talked about the idea of having digital sovereign nations and stuff like that. This is that type of example that these are things that work. dTAO, not only does it decentralize TAO a bit more, it makes it democratized, because you're able to incentivize and democratize a lot of interesting financial pieces that weren't there before. So I'm super bullish on this move. I'm really excited to really I would love to be a bigger part of Bittensor overall. So excited, obviously with Taoshi and their group to always be here regularly. Appreciate that, and definitely want to just really see the future of what could be possible with Bittensor. And again, the idea that we're democratizing, we're decentralizing. We don't want one entity to own all of this, guys. That's why we love DeFi. If that was the case, we'd all be on Coinbase or Kraken.
Yeah,
or something like that.
One quote that I really appreciated about Bittensor that really kind of helped me was there's so much power going to on Bitcoin. There's so much power going to hash, to figure out this hash. So much power. What if all that hive mind power could be used in a better, a hive mind like LLM, type system where you're pitting all these models together and you're getting the best result. You're using all that power to get the best result in whatever case. So that's what Bittensor's currently doing across a wide different areas, sectors, all that stuff. So imagine all that power going to LLMs, going to predicting financial markets. So
sports betting,
agents. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this.
Yeah, prediction markets, all of that. That's all tied to different projects within Bittensor. Like, for example, Creator.bit, or it's an AI agent framework we've been looking at. They have a very popular one called DraftKings, but DRAIFT, KINGS, and it's supposed to be predictive sports betting using Bittensor's network in some way. But really interesting ideas, and these are the things that we like. We like seeing what's up next, what's going to be in the hands of everyday users, and that's why we love DeFi. What we're seeing here, what we're talking about weekly, whether on our calls or when we talk to people like Ken, this is stuff that you're going to see here first. You're not going to see it out in mainstream, talks. You're not going to see that stuff. This is where all this stuff is born, and you're getting exposure to what we call the primary financial market first, which is great. So, Julia has a question. Jules is asking, what's the Twitter handle to learn more about with dTAO? And we'll have that on the tweet. That's at Raleigh_CA. We'll make sure that we get that put on the tweet out there. And Ken, if you want to hand me if you just want to message me those video links specifically, I'll make sure they get put on this. I'll make sure they put on the YouTube video as well as on our live stream here on Twitter. So
people always look at my username and they're like, "Oh, Raleigh, is there a Raleigh in California?" Because
there might be. It might be up in the mountains, or halfway to Chico.
Well, let me send those links to you. But it's an interesting ecosystem detail. It's coming this week. As Chris was saying, this is really just the drop, and I work within the Bittensor ecosystem, so you're really just getting your ears to the ground here through Beacon. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I want to see what is the sneak peek into what's going to be the future of not only just crypto but also AI, right? I think the future is decentralized. It has to be.
I think so. I think so. It's a good pairing of the two, crypto and AI.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think. I was always wondering what that was going to be. And when I saw Bittensor start to be created, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Decentralized AI. How do they do that? And then kind of looking into the whole ecosystem and what they've been doing, because I'm a longtime Discord member at DTAO as well. Fascinating, unbelievably fascinating, truly impressive.
Yeah.
The amount of hive mind that's in this ecosystem is nuts. I'm excited to see the bridges on how we can start to onboard people into these ecosystems, because to me that's the part that's missing. But once that happens, and we're working on becoming a big part of that. Super excited for that.
One of the, and I won't keep us, but one of the harder things too with Bittensor is because there's so many applications on Bittensor, it's like, where's the front door? How do we get into this? It's so fragmented, understandably so, because that's the purpose. You can a wide array of different interests, but that also makes it a little bit harder to, where's the front door? How do I get into this? What do I see? What do I do? What is all this? And in itself, Bittensor is a little harder to understand if you're coming from the other crypto world. I was about to say traditional crypto, but
TradFi.
Yeah. So it's exciting. And we'll see what comes out of it. And I'll make sure I'll keep everyone abreast of the situation.
And yeah, if you work in the Bittensor ecosystem and you have a passion for building a front end, like Ken was talking about, if you want to help us build the front door, we've got all these people waiting, and we're here with guides, and we're looking to help onboard people. Hit me up. I would love to collaborate with everyone in Bittensor to make sure that we can bring people into what's going to be a huge part of the future of finance, in my opinion. So again, I want to thank Ken for being here today. Developer Relations at Taoshi. Go ahead and plug your stuff, sir.
Yeah, as Chris said, Developer Relations at Taoshi. Taoshi works on SN8, or proprietary trading network, on Bittensor. Developer Relations, you can check me out on Twitter at Raleigh it's been a long week. Raleigh _CA, Taoshi.io, and Taoshi.io on Twitter. So check us out, and excited for doing more of these with you, Chris. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And Ken's got I'll be honest, guys, if I wasn't doing this, Developer Relations has always been my dream job. DevRel, Dev Advocate.
Love it.
Just because of my educational background, my IT background, my programming background. I'm, as much as I like being heads down coding, I like helping other coders.
Yeah.
And you need people with people skills, with soft skills, to be able to be that liaison between them and the business analyst and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm just rambling now on things that I wish I could do. Regardless of that, again, feel free to please join us on our free group, TVL, Total Value Locked, school.com/beacon. Absolutely free, guys. Absolutely free to join. So if you know anybody who's interested, if you saw value in what you saw today, you want to learn more, we have completely free content on how you can go 0 to 1 in terms of DeFi. You can so let me make this case. There's more than just holding crypto and digital assets. You can make that stuff work for you. You can earn passive income, even with as little as $20, $10, $5. You can start earning pennies. And anytime you're earning pennies and not losing pennies, you're making money. So if you want to learn how we've been able to survive and thrive in this space for the many years we've been here, please join us for free, school.com/beacon. And I look forward to seeing all of you in ETH Denver. If you want to learn about my masterclass, you want to be there live and attend, and I'll buy you a coffee or something, let me know. Happy to see you there. It's going to be a great class. I'm excited to present on it, and excited to see all of you. It's going to be a great time. Again, it's the spiritual home of Beacon DeFi. It's a big reason of why we're Beacon, because we love the community aspect. The fact that I can see Ken and we can talk about things that we don't have to explain to each other. It's crazy how powerful that connection is. And that's the reason why we started Beacon, because we had a group of people that it's hard to talk about things like blockchain investing, crypto investing, on-chain investing, DeFi, with people without them just looking at us all like, what? Is that a scam? Is it like an NFT monkey picture? No, it's way more than that, guys. It's the future. Self-custody is the journey we're on, man. It's the future.
You mean that monkey picture's 80 grand? What? Yes, and it's worth it.
Justin Bieber paid $115 million for a picture of a mutated monkey? What?
I want one too. Can I have one? Oh
No,
goodness.
please
Yeah, it's
don't.
probably good. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's priced out. It's which is a good thing because I wouldn't want to be holding a monkey picture for 100. I mean, hey, if you got it like that, you got it like
Hey,
that. Who am
a
I?
brand's a brand, right? We just
Yeah,
we
who
just
am
went and
I?
bought a whole bunch of pudgy penguins, the little igloo
Oh, I do love
figurines.
those. I do love those.
Yeah,
I
they come
can't
with
lie.
QR codes, and I got them from a liquidator. Didn't know that they already like actually. Most people actually
No,
scan the QR codes. I'm like,
and
oh, I was
just
so excited.
you were
And they
hoping you're
put
gonna
it
actually
back
get
in.
a.
They put it back in. That was the worst
Oh
part. They
man,
scanned them and then put them back
man,
in and sold them for.
yeah,
I
man.
got schemed. I got bamboozled.
We should talk about
Yeah,
NFTs coming up here soon too. I mean,
we should.
I don't know what's going on with NFTs at all. So hopefully they make it come back. I love NFTs, but
Well, they're gonna be. I'll have you back on the next time.
yeah,
There's a lot
yeah.
of good NFT stuff happening. A lot of meme coins based off of NFTs that are doing really well. Values are starting to come back in. You go to Tensor, you go to Blur, you go to
Mm,
Magic Eden. OpenSea is probably having a token soon.
mm,
Um,
mm.
there is interest. So now the NFTs
Right.
themselves, man, maybe not so much, but the big brands are capitalizing. Whether that be
Yeah.
Pudgy Penguins, whether that be Milady, anime from the Ape Chain, stuff like that, or rather, I'm sorry, Azuki. They they're all they're going to see some interesting stuff this year. It's all just a matter of what we're going to see. And yeah, as Susan would say, that's easy to get FOMO, FOMO, FOMO.
Phew,
I should put that on a
goodness.
shirt.
FOMO,
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 FOMO.
FOMO, FOMO. I like that.
I like that. That's good.
FOMO, FOMO,
Ah,
FOMO.
I mean, I even had some marketing I forgot to talk about in my notes about what the D and dTAO could
Stuff.
stand for. You know, decentralized TAO, dope TAO,
Mm.
delegate TAO. I mean, you could really have you can have all of that, BitTensor, by the way. You can have all that marketing
Okay.
for free.
I'm gonna see you in a shirt of FOMO, FOMO, FOMO. You're gonna see me in something detail type shirt that
I'll
you
do both.
created. Dope towel.
I have a cricket machine right here. I can make whatever I
Oh,
want.
do you? Okay.
Yeah, I like making gear. I like making
Yeah.
gear. You're gonna see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some for anybody who's gonna see me. I'm gonna have some one of one merch that has never been seen anywhere. Like for permissionless, I had a Beacon DeFi. I'm sorry, a Beacon University shirt
Oh,
with
make
DeFi in the center. Kind of looked like a typical college hoodie. So
101.
um,
Make it an NFT. Maybe, maybe
I
not.
could do that. I could do
Mm,
that. Anyway,
interesting.
we're here every week, Wednesday, live on Twitter, live on YouTube. Check us out. Again, check out our free group as well. Happy to see you there. And I'll happy to see you in Denver. Ken, thanks again for being here. We'll see you next week for another episode of Total Value Locked from Beacon DeFi, as we like to say here. Beacons up, banks down. '07, guys. Take care.